As a business owner, it's your responsibility to report all the income you've earned in your business when tax time comes around. You also have the opportunity to report any and all business-related expenses that reduce that income to reduce the amount of taxes that you owe. These expenses are often referred to as tax deductions or tax write-offs. Generally speaking, you'll be able to write off any expense that is ordinary and necessary in your type of business, with some exceptions and limits. I've put together a list of 25 specific tax deduction examples that you can write off in your retail boutique. And while this is not an exhaustive list by any means, it gives a great start for what you should be tracking in your business. Be sure to consult with your tax pro to ensure that you are taking advantage of all the tax deductions you can with your boutique and pay as little in taxes as legally possible. Hey there, and welcome to the Boutique Bookkeeper Show, where we take the mystery out of your money and make your numbers make sense. I'm Megan, virtual bookkeeper and bookkeeping coach, and I love helping female boutique owners just like you finally feel confident about the financial side of your business. If you're tired of feeling anxious every time you have to open QuickBooks, or if you're making sales but constantly left wondering, where did all that money go? You're in the right place. We'll cover all things bookkeeping and taxes, all in plain English, so you can be less intimidated by the numbers and finally start to use them to help you grow a profitable boutique. So, if you're ready to stop avoiding this whole numbers thing and start keeping more of the money you make, grab your coffee and your calculator and let's dive in. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Boutique Bookkeeper Show. I'm your host, Megan, and today we are going to be looking at specific tax deduction examples that you can be tracking in your boutique business to help you lower your taxable income and save a little money on taxes. But before I dive into this today, I want to let you know that I have a printable version of all of these tax deduction examples available on my website. If you want to grab your own copy, you can go to findingfreedomfinancial.com/deductions and sign up for your own printable version. All right, let's dive in. So example number 1. Advertising and marketing. So this is going to be the cost of anything that you pay for to help essentially advertise and market and promote your business. So it can include the cost of designing the branding for your boutique. It can be printing business cards that you hand out. It can be any signage that you put in front of or inside your boutique. It can include email marketing platforms, social media scheduler apps, social media ads or other printed ads. It can include being an event sponsor. All of these things are designed to help you promote your business, get your name out there, let people know that you are a business, and help draw them into your store. Next is automobile expenses. So if you have a vehicle that you use strictly for business use, like maybe you have a mobile boutique truck or a trailer that you use to drive around to different pop-ups, you want to make sure that it's included in your bookkeeping records, and all related fuel, licensing, maintenance costs should also be included in your bookkeeping records. If you sometimes use a personal vehicle for business use, like those multiple trips to the post office to drop off packages, be sure to keep a detailed log of the mileage you've driven for business purposes. Unfortunately, your normal commute to and from your brick and mortar location is not going to be eligible to be considered business use, but if you use your personal vehicle for boutique use, you can deduct a certain cost of the personal related expenses using one of the following methods. You can use either the standard mileage deduction, which for 2025 is 70 cents per mile, or you have the actual cost method, which requires you to keep track of all costs related to operating your vehicle, so fuel, oil, repairs, maintenance, registration, insurance, things like that. And then you are able to deduct a certain percentage of that based on the percentage of use your vehicle was driven for business or personal purposes. Both methods require that you keep a detailed business mileage log. So it's a good idea to keep track of what your odometer reading was at the beginning of the year, what it was at the end of the year to see the total miles driven throughout the year, and then keep a log to keep track of all of the little trips that you went on for your business, whether you were driving to and from pop-up locations or just one of those many trips to the post office. Next is bank and payment processor fees. So this is going to be any type of maintenance fees that your bank might charge, any of the annual fees that your credit cards may charge, and then also just the processing fees that are deducted from your payouts from Shopify, Square, Stripe, or PayPal, or whatever other payment processors you might use. Next is business insurance. So this can include any type of insurance that you have for your business, property insurance, any auto insurance for company vehicles, liability insurance. If you have employees and you offer different health benefits like health, dental, vision, and life insurance, all of those can be deductible, along with workers' compensation insurance. Next is business licenses and permits. So this could include the initial LLC filing that you had to file with your state, any renewal fees if your state charges for those, if your state ever charges for any type of sales tax or resellers permits, and any business licenses that may be required by your state, county, or city government agencies. Next is business meals. So this one can be tricky and there are certain limits in place for meals, so you want to make sure that you have good details regarding who attended the meal, the location of the meal, the business purpose of the meal, and obviously the amount as well. If business meals are going to be part of your business, then I actually recommend that you set up at least 3 separate different categories in your bookkeeping software because they are treated slightly differently at tax time. So category number 1 is team building meals. These are going to be 100% deductible, and it includes food and beverages for staff holiday parties or summer picnics or any other type of team celebration dinners. Another category you want to set up is working meals. These are only going to be 50% deductible, and this is going to include food and snacks provided to staff while they're working, business meals while you're out meeting with suppliers or vendors. And another category you could also include this, group it together with your working meals because these are also only 50% deductible, but travel meals. So whenever you are out, maybe you're traveling to market, all of the meals that you buy on your trip are only going to be 50% deductible. The next category is contract labor. So these are going to include any payments to individuals or businesses that you hire to help complete a project or a task, and they are not on your payroll. So maybe this could be models that you pay to model your clothes. Maybe you have a social media manager. Maybe you pay someone to come in and clean your store. But it's anyone that has provided a service to your business that is not going to be on payroll. And just a little side note here, if you pay them more than $600 during the year, you may need to issue them what's called a Form 1099 at the end of the year. If you want to learn more about your 1099 requirements as a business owner, you can check out a blog post that I did on this a while ago at findingfreedomfinancial.com/12, and you can learn a little bit more about 1099s. All right, next category is your cost of goods sold. So this will likely be your biggest expense as a retail seller. Your cost of goods sold deduction is going to be the cost of the items that you have sold to your customers, as the name suggests. Just a reminder that it's not expensed when you purchase them. When you purchase inventory, that's actually recorded as an inventory asset. And on your tax return, your cost of goods sold is actually calculated like this. It's your beginning cost of inventory, so the inventory that you had on hand January 1st. You're going to add in any inventory purchases made during the year. You're going to subtract out any items that you have taken out of the business for personal use. And then you're also going to subtract the ending cost of your inventory, or what you had on hand on December 31st. This formula will also help you account for any inventory items that may have been damaged or stolen throughout the year, which hopefully shouldn't be much, as these are also eligible for a deduction. And if you need a more in-depth explanation of how to track your inventory and cost of goods sold for bookkeeping purposes, you can check out a blog post that I did on understanding the difference between inventory and cost of goods sold in a retail business. I'll link it below in the show notes, but it's findingfreedomfinancial.com/28. All right, next category is going to be depreciation of fixed assets. And depreciation is really just a fancy bookkeeping term that represents the decline in value of some more expensive items that your boutique might own. So items like furniture that your customers sit on, some of the shelving equipment, maybe a vehicle. And generally speaking, any items that you purchase over $2,500, they're going to be considered assets in your bookkeeping, and then you're able to deduct them through this depreciation expense. The IRS has a couple different methods and requirements, the depreciating items, so it's best just to talk to a tax professional on how to deduct these more expensive items to give you the greatest tax benefit. All All right, another category is event expenses. So this can include registration fees for pop-up events, or maybe you host a lot of events right in your brick and mortar to help draw in customers. So it can include the cost of food and beverage items that are provided to your customers, or any other cost related to these in-store events that you are hosting. All right, next is the home office expense. So if you use a portion of your home strictly for business purposes, you may be able to deduct a portion of your housing expenses, and there's two primary methods to do this. There's the simplified method, which means that you can deduct $5 per square foot of business space up to 300 square feet, or there's the standard method, which means that you can calculate out the percentage of your home that is devoted to business use and multiply that percentage by the actual housing expenses you have paid during the year for things like rent or mortgage, utilities, property taxes, and repairs. Keep in mind that your home office expenses are not actually going to be recorded in your bookkeeping, so you'll have to remember to provide that information to your tax preparer separate from your financial data. Next is interest expense. This one's fairly self-explanatory, but any interest that you pay on your business loan or mortgages or credit cards are going to be deductible. And just keep in mind that it's the interest portion of any business loans. You're not going to be able to deduct the full payments amount that also include the principal amounts. It is only the interest that is deductible. Next is legal and professional fees. So this can include fees paid to lawyers to help you establish and register an LLC. It can be fees paid to an accountant for filing your business tax returns, and it can also include monthly fees paid to a bookkeeper to help you maintain your bookkeeping. Next is memberships and subscriptions, but this can include dues paid to professional memberships such as a local chamber of commerce or networking groups. It can also include online memberships such as the Boutique Hub. Next is office supplies and software. So this is going to be general office supplies such as paper, ink, envelopes, pens. It can include stamps for just everyday mailings, for mailing out bill payments. And then it can also include software that you use to organize and operate your business, such as QuickBooks Online, Shopify, Amazon Music if you stream it in your store, and any email marketing software that you might use. Next category is packaging and shipping. So this is going to include bubble wrap, boxes, poly mailers, and any other costs related to shipping your customers' orders to get it in their hands. Next category is any payroll-related expenses. So it's going to include the total hourly wage amounts that you pay to your employees. It'll include the payroll taxes that you as the company has to pay on top of those wages. It's going to include if you have any benefits, any paid time off or any other paid leaves. It can include any employer-paid portions of employee benefit programs like 401k, insurances, things like that. And it also includes your salary as the owner if you have elected to be taxed as an S-Corp. Just keep in mind that if you are not an S-Corp and you are taking money out of the business, those need to be categorized as owner's draws, and you are not supposed to be on payroll unless you are an S-Corp. Next category is property taxes. So that's going to be any property taxes paid on the retail space that you own and occupy. And just a little side note, if you work from home and you are able to claim the home office deduction, just remember to keep in mind that your property taxes can also be calculated as part of that home office deduction. Next is rent expense. So if you lease the retail space that you are operating out of, obviously the rent that you are paying on a monthly basis, that can also be a tax deduction. Next is repairs and maintenance. So any costs that you pay to help, repair and maintain your space. So any light bulbs, paint, any other items purchased to fix, repair, or maintain the look and feel of your boutique can all be a tax deduction. This can also include payments to plumbers, electricians, or contractors for more significant repairs and improvements needed. Just keep in mind again that they would be considered a contract laborer as well, and you may need to issue them a 1099 at the end of the year for any amounts paid. Next is store supplies. So this can often be grouped with office supplies as well because there may be some sharing between what you use in an office versus a store setting, but receipt paper and ink, bags and tissue paper that you use to wrap your customer purchases in, any hang tags that you attach to the clothing items, and any other hangers that you may use throughout the store. Next is telephone and internet. So this is going to be any telephone and internet that is provided in your boutique space. It can also include a separate business cell phone, or you may be able to deduct a percentage of your personal cell phone and home internet if you also use it for business. All right, we're almost to the end here. The next category is training and education. So the education that you receive must be relevant to your business and be used to further your experience and add value to your business. But Any different trainings and educations that you pay for to help you grow your business can be included as a tax deduction. So maybe you pay to attend certain seminars or trainings, maybe you get different coaching in your business, any courses or classes related to business and retail, and even books that you buy and read to help you grow and become more confident in your business. They can all be included as a tax deduction. Next is travel expenses. So just remember when it comes to travel that the trip needs to be ordinary and necessary for your business purpose in order to be claimed as a tax deduction. But for trips that you take, such as a trip to market, you'll be able to include and deduct any costs for airplane, train, or bus tickets, any transportation via taxi, Uber, Lyft, things like that. You can deduct your hotel stay, any parking and tolls that you might have to pay, rental car or fuel. And then again, remember that any travel meals you can also deduct at 50%, so make sure that you are tracking all of those costs as well. All right, the last category I have for you today is utilities. So any utilities that you pay for your boutique space, such as electricity, water, heat, all of those can be deducted. And just a side note, again, if you are able to claim that home office deduction, just remember that you may be able to deduct a portion of your home utility payments as well as part of that home office deduction. All right, you guys, so those were the 25 separate tax deduction categories that I had for you today. So what I have for you to do now is just make sure that your bookkeeping software is set up to begin tracking all of your spending activity and organizing it into these different tax deduction categories that you've determined are applicable to your business. By using a bookkeeping software to do this, such as my personal favorite, QuickBooks Online, you'll be able to have a readily accessible profit and loss statement so you can claim all of these applicable tax deductions to help you lower your taxable income at tax time. And if you want some additional guidance on how to set up your QuickBooks Online to help you manage your boutique bookkeeping and help you organize all of these tax deductible expenses, then I'd love to invite you to enroll in my signature course, Bookkeeping Made Simple for Boutiques, where I will walk you through every single step you need in order to set up and start using QuickBooks Online to help you make sense of the money in your business. To learn more about this course, you can go to findingfreedomfinancial.com/course, and you can find all of the info about what you would get inside. All right, that's all I have for you guys today, but be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Boutique Bookkeeper Show. I'll see you there. Hey there, and thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that I shared something that helped you feel just a little bit more confident in understanding all the numbers in your boutique business. If you found this helpful, don't forget to go and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way for other boutique owners just like you to find this podcast so I can help them feel just a little bit more confident in their numbers as well. If you have any questions about what you heard today, hop on over to Instagram and send me a DM at Finding Freedom Financial. I'll be back again real soon, but in the meantime, go implement or take action on something you learned today. I promise your future self will thank you.